Well, this is the Call Flow Show for March 27th here at WFLO AM 870 in Farmville. We are streaming online at WFLO.net and broadcasting from the Francis E. Wood Studio in downtown Farmville. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Lydia Fisher from the Yeatman Group. Lydia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Noah. How are you?
I'm doing well.
It's a beautiful day outside.
It's very nice.
Yes.
It's can't complain.
The sun is shining.
Sun is shining, for sure. Yeah. So what brings you in today?
So this is our second session.
Absolutely.
Last time I had Kyle accompany me. This time it's just me. So I'm really excited. Last time we just were taking some time to introduce ourselves, who we are, what we're doing, and we do have some fun sessions planned ahead.
Sure.
Maybe bringing in like a contractor or like a president
some
of a
experts
bank.
in the field.
Yeah, different experts in different parts of the field. We don't just help people buy or sell. We're very involved with a lot of other contractors, handymen, pest control, home inspectors, builders, and lenders. So there's so many different parts of the process. We'd like to get other people involved too.
Sure,
to give their insight. So we've got some exciting things planned. Today, one of the big things that we want to talk about, I'm saying we, I have multiple personalities.
That's so funny.
No, just me. Something that I'm going to be talking about with Noah is partnering with an agent who specializes in your desired market.
Exactly.
So we had previously just said the importance of working with a local agent. And I thought, well, let's hone that in a little bit. Partnering with an agent who specializes in your desired market.
Sure.
So I thought that captured it a little bit better.
Absolutely. Break that down even more if you want.
I would love to. Thank you so much for asking.
Desired markets. What are we looking at?
So when I say desired market, the market that I work is where we live. So born and raised here in Prince Edward County, and I know the surrounding counties very well. So Prince Edward, Cumberland, Nottoway, Buckingham, Lunenburg, Amelia, Appomattox, Charlotte. So all these rural counties I'm very familiar with, born and raised here. I know people here. I know other experts that are also in these markets. So when I say local expert, I'm talking about this area. So if someone were to approach me and say, hey, I'm interested in buying new construction in Magnolia Green in Richmond, I would say, well, as much as I would love, not really, but as much as I would love to go out to Richmond and help you, I'm not an expert in that area. So I'm not an expert in your desired market.
Sure.
Now, if someone wants to buy a home in any one of the counties I just mentioned, those are the places that I know.
Yeah.
And so breaking down, an expert who specializes in your desired market, number one, I think of local market knowledge. So local details. Let's say we're looking at a home on, let's say 4th Avenue.
4th Avenue, yeah.
So if you say, hey, I want to see this home on 4th Avenue, and I meet you out there and we're talking about the property, and you're not already familiar with the market,
sure.
You can live in Farmville your whole life and not necessarily be familiar with the market.
That's right, yeah.
So whether you're from here or you're from out of the area, I'm meeting you, we're talking about pricing and all of that. I'm a local expert, so I'm going to be able to tell you, hey, here are all the homes that sold on this street or on the adjacent streets within the past year. We can talk about what list price versus sold price.
Sure.
Price per square foot. Maybe the things that those homes had that this one didn't, or the features that this home has that the others don't.
Sure.
So a local market expert, they're going to know details about your local market, which is most important. As a buyer or a seller, you need to be partnered with other local experts because this is a huge decision. This is a very drawn out, can be a very drawn out process. You want to be working with experts in other fields. So local details are very, very, very important.
Yeah.
And then a local agent will also connect you with other local specialists. So, from the time that you go under contract to the time that you close, there's a lot of things happening. So first thing we think of is the home inspection. So like I said, whether you live here or you don't, most of the times people don't know, hey, I know a home inspector. Most of the time people don't know that. So I keep a detailed list of folks that I would personally use and have used before. So I only recommend people that I've worked with, people that I trust, people that I know, people that I would personally use to my clients.
Sure. Yeah.
So if they're looking in this area, I'm going to have other local experts that I know. So that can mean local lenders. So something specific to this area, since we're here in Farmville, USDA loans. So USDA loans are specifically for rural properties. You can't get a USDA loan in Richmond. So that's something that's kind of unique to the rural area. And then there's different grant programs, and something that we see a lot, something that I deal with a lot, is mobile homes. So double wides. There are a few more steps you have to go through when getting financing for a double wide.
Sure.
So, knowing things like that and working with lenders who are familiar with the process when purchasing a mobile home.
If you don't mind me asking, what are the extra steps that you mentioned
I would
in
love
purchasing?
to go into that.
Because
Absolutely.
so it is different than buying just like a regular house. Like how
It
so?
is. So you have modular homes, which can be built on site or off site, but they're put together in pieces and then they're brought on site and pieced together.
Sure.
So a modular home is treated the same as a stick built home when it comes to financing. So there's a few features of modular homes. Like I can look at one and know this is a modular home. Biggest thing being like they call it the Mary wall or the marriage wall, where they put the pieces together. So you have like a really thick wall in the middle where they put the pieces together. So, but modular homes are treated the same when it comes to financing. Mobile homes, so single wides, double wides, triple wides. So they are, of course, on wheels. They have a hitch. They're brought onto the property. They're placed on piers. They have skirting. Once the hitch has been removed, the wheels have been removed, and the property gets transferred into real property, that's when it becomes real estate and no longer personal property.
Okay.
So, an example of personal property would be like a travel trailer. So essentially a double wide, before it's transferred into real property, is taxed as personal property just like a trailer would be.
Sure.
So when you get it transferred into real property, that happens at the DMV. There have been multiple cases where I've shown a property, the listing agent didn't do their research beforehand. I've shown a property, I do the research, I'm like, oh, this double wide was never actually transferred from personal property to real estate, which means you can't get a residential loan on it. So, big thing is double checking, and most of the time they are, but you get out to like the outskirts of some of these counties and, sometimes it just never happened.
Sure.
So, one of the first things I do when I'm looking at, if I haven't already talked about it with the listing agent, when I'm looking at mobile homes, I'm like, oh, have they been transferred into real property?
Yeah.
So look, and the way you can check that is by looking at the tax card, because your property is taxed for what its value is. So you'll be able to see the breakdown of the value on the tax card. So if you don't see single family home or double wide manufactured home on there, then you're not getting taxed for the value, which means it hasn't been transferred to real estate. Now you can get it transferred. You have to fill out a form at the DMV, and there's a whole process. But to answer your question, some of the hurdles that you can go through, that can be the first one. The mobile home was never transferred into real property. So it's not being taxed, which means you cannot get a residential loan. You can get a loan for just the land, but you can't get a residential loan for something that's personal property. It's like I couldn't go to the bank and get a residential loan for my travel trailer.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's number one thing. I always check on that. And there is a caveat within that. Okay. Let me
Sure.
before I'm stepping ahead of myself. So number 2 mobile home problem, if it's been moved 2 times or more. So mobile homes, bring them to the site. They take off the wheels, they take off the hitch, they put on a permanent foundation. At that point, if it's been transferred into real property, it's considered real property. It's no longer, you have to have the hitch removed, wheels removed, permanent foundation. And by permanent foundation, the foundation of a mobile home is piers. The skirting that goes around it supports it, but that's not the foundation. The foundation is the piers that it sits on. So we covered that. Number 2, if it's been moved.
Twice,
so when they move it to a property, that's not considered it moving. So that's like that. It's putting it on the property. Now, if they move it again and it starts to be moved multiple times, that's when it disqualifies itself from financing. Only type of financing. Now I say only. This is 9 times out of 10. The only type of finance you can get then is VA. VA has a special caveat that allows to get financing on mobile homes that have been moved more than twice. So, but that's a problem that I've seen come up. I've actually had it happen twice. There was a buyer I was helping. We found a double wide that she absolutely loved. It had been renovated, super cute. It checked all of her boxes. It was in her price range. She was so excited about it. Felt like home the moment she stepped inside the door. Found out that it had been moved more than twice. So she couldn't get. I talked to every loan officer that I knew. Everyone's like, yeah, no, we can't.
Why do you think they do that?
So because it's a mobile home. Every time you move it, it can be compromising the structure. So you think about picking up a home, putting it back on the hitch, and hauling it down the highway, then bringing it back to a site and putting it back again on a permanent foundation. That's going to put a lot of wear and tear on your home.
Sure. Yeah.
So because of now, it may or may not, but because of the risk that's involved with that, most of the time, if it's been moved more than twice, then the lender, you can't get financing on it, except for VA loan has that caveat.
That's nice.
So that's problem number 2. And other things I'm talking about, not necessarily problems, but there are other things that you have to go through. Anytime you have a mobile home and you're getting like an FHA loan, you have to have an engineer certification done. So I have this happen all the time. And if you as an agent are not familiar with helping people purchase mobile homes, this step can kind of be forgotten. Or if the lender is not familiar with it, I've come across some lenders who are like, oh, we forgot that this was important. So then it can cause the deal to be delayed. But you have to have an engineer certification. You have to have an engineer certification. So an engineer has to come out, look at the foundation, and sign off on that the wheels have been removed, the hitch has been removed, and it's on a permanent foundation. So basically making sure that the structure is sound.
Sure.
So honestly, I'd have to go back and look. I probably did like 15 mobile homes last year.
Wow.
And most of I think every single instance was an FHA buyer.
Okay.
So I do a lot of engineer certifications. Yeah. So that's one thing that needs to be in place, specifically for FHA financing. And then another is the HUD plate. So it's the identification plate that shows where the home was made. It's usually on the left side of the home.
Sure.
And then there's usually another one on the inside of the home. It's usually inside of your kitchen cabinet, or it can be inside of it's usually inside like the primary bedroom closet on the door or inside. So you're looking for those plates. If one of them is missing, you're usually okay. You can fall back on the other one to get all the information. If both of them are missing, we're up a creek.
How many times has that happened to where you can't find the identification?
It's actually, fortunately, has not happened to me.
Okay, wow.
So,
is there a reason why they would be gone? Do people remove them intentionally?
So let's say the double wide was built in 1985 and it's gone through several renovations since then. People painted over them. People removed it after taking down wallpaper.
Oh man.
The cabinets were replaced, so that usually that plate is inside the cabinets, kitchen cabinets. So if they replaced all the cabinets and just tore everything out, then it could be gone. If they put new siding on it, and then the one on the outside is pretty hard. It's a metal plate with information.
You would have to be intentionally trying.
I'm going to get rid of this. It's a pretty official looking plate.
Yeah.
So it's common to see the inside one missing. Outside one, you have to be personally, if I saw them, be like, this looks important.
Yeah.
I should probably not throw this away. The outside one's usually there. But that's another thing to be mindful of.
Sure.
And if you're not working with an agent who's familiar with mobile homes, the process of buying one, there's just a few things that me as an agent who I do a lot of mobile home deals, those are things that I'm constantly keeping in mind. So I'm looking at the tax value, because it'll show you if the property's taxed as real estate. And I'm looking for those plates, the HUD plates, the identification plates, while I'm there. And I'm also taking kind of a look at if the hitch is still removed. I'm like, well, that's got to go.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get an engineer out there. Well, let me ask you this, Lydia. So hypothetically, I know this hasn't happened to you yet, but if both of those HUD plates were gone in a situation like that, what does a realtor do other than panic? Because it's kind of,
I try not to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is go to the lender. Well, honestly, I would go to the lender and be like, hey, we're missing some plates. I'm going to see what I can do. I'd go to the listing agent then and say, hey, you need to talk to your seller. And are they the original owners? If they are, they probably still have information on it.
Sure.
And if they're not the original owners, I would say go back to what they, the deed, what they have recorded at the courthouse, because they can track the information back.
Sure.
So it's not probably still not impossible. You just have to do a little bit more research, because it was built and constructed somewhere. So you might have to go back a few times in the courthouse and do a little bit of a search there. But first thing I would do is talk to the homeowners and say, hey, we've got some missing plates. This is pretty important.
Sure.
Are they the original owners? If they're not, what information do they have already on the home? What's recorded at the courthouse? Do we need to search this back? So I'd say it's still not impossible, just
a lot more difficult.
A few more extra steps involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's something I was not aware about, and now that is good to know.
Yeah.
The more you know, I guess.
I remember the first time I did a double wide.
Yeah.
And I wasn't necessarily familiar with all the steps, and I learned the hard way.
And that's another question I want to ask you. As a realtor, do you kind of have to learn? I don't want to say through trial and error, but by kind of just figuring stuff out, as it comes your way and stuff like that. Is there a lot of hands-on skill like that you kind of develop?
There's a lot of hands-on learning,
sure.
But there's also when I first got into the industry, I had a lot of training. The best type of training is hands-on.
Sure.
So full transparency, the first home that I ever sold, it was a buyer. I was working with a buyer. If he would have asked me, how many homes have you sold? Or is this the first home you ever sold? I would have told him. I would have been honest with him. But he never asked. So he did not know. And it was a mobile home. And I learned about the engineer certification. And thankfully, I had him with one of my lenders that I knew really well. And I had been working with my team. And so the lender knew about, we need the engineer certification. He was amazing. I still work with him. He's great. So thankfully I was working with a lender who was very, very informed, knew the local market, knew what to look for, and was really helping me. That buyer at the closing table had no idea that it was the first home I ever sold. No clue. He thought I'd been doing it for years. He didn't ask me how long I've been doing it. So like I said, I would have been honest with him, but to this day, I'm pretty sure he does not know that was the first home I ever sold.
That is really funny.
So yes, it's very much hands-on learning when it comes to real estate, but I still do. I have a team who's very, very supportive, and that includes lenders and contractors and other agents and managers and people who work alongside me. Something that we do is we meet often and we talk about what we're dealing with. What challenges, as agents, we get together, what challenges have you faced? So we can learn from each other's mistakes. We can learn from each other's failures, each other's successes. So I'm constantly learning. I'm still learning today. I mean, you talk to a realtor who's been in the business for 40 years and they're still learning, because every house is going to be different. Every client is different. Their needs are different. So, and every house usually presents a different challenge. So you're constantly learning. That's one of the reasons why I love this job so much, is because it's constantly giving you opportunities to grow, opportunities to learn. And that's like I said, it's one of the things that I love most about this job.
Yeah. Wow.
Are you okay if I move on to point number 2?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So we talked about local market knowledge being important.
Yes.
When working with a realtor. Another point would be off-market properties.
Okay.
So this is a small area. Mm-hmm. We're talking about off-market properties. There can be like a negative stigmatism around that, like, oh, that agent, her properties never even hit the market because she sells them herself. So that's not like my intention. Sure. but sometimes, I think it all comes down to what the seller's goals are. Mm-hmm. So I have a story to share specifically about an off-market property. And when this opportunity, everything just worked out so well with this deal. So I had been working, we'll do this. I'll start with the seller. So I helped this person purchase this home in November of 2023. Okay. So we closed in November, and amazing buyer. I loved working with her. She was fantastic. And we closed in November. So then fast forward to last December, so 4 months ago, or actually it was been more like 5 or 6 months ago. I had met with another buyer, been helping her for a while. We had found a home that she really loved. It didn't work out, so she had been searching for a little while. I was helping her. And we just weren't finding what she was looking for. Sure. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of options back on the market last fall and winter. So she's like, maybe I should just wait till spring. She's very disheartened. Just there wasn't options. Weren't finding what she was looking for in her price point. So we had kind of taken a step back just because we weren't finding other options. And then in December, I get a call from the person I helped purchase that home back in November of 2023. She called me. She says, "Hey, Lydia, my life plans just changed. I need to sell this house. I know I've only been in it for 13 months. I don't know how much equity I've actually built here, but I need to sell it." Mm-hmm. So I met with her the following day, met her at the house. We looked at the comparables, and I was like, "Hey, so we talked about how much money she wanted to make. Mm-hmm. What's your goal? How can we surpass that?" And we talked about her ideal closing date. She's like, "Hey, my ideal closing date is," and she gave me the date. And that's perfect. I would love to, but she's like, "I don't want to put the home on the market over Christmas time. There's just so much going on with my family, and it's a hectic time. I don't want to put my home on the market during Christmas time, but I really would like to sell it during Christmas time, or at least go under contract and then close on this preferred closing date." So I was like, okay.
Quite the conundrum right
there.
Yeah,
well, thankfully I had an answer. Mm-hmm. So in my head, as soon as she called me, the first place my head went, I was like, I have a buyer for this home. Mm-hmm. The buyer that I had been helping, who took a step back, wanted to wait for spring. I was like, I knew that she was going to love this house. Yeah. So when I met with my seller, we talked about I asked her, like, she had a price in mind. We talked about the price, all the things. And she was like, really? When I told her the price, she's like, do you think I can get that? I was like, I think we can get this. So she had a goal of how much money she wanted to make. I then told her, I was like, hey, if I can sell this home for you with a buyer that I find within the next, I think it was like, a month. We can go under contract. We can pick the closing date. Would you be? Oh, she's like, oh, I would love that. Please do that. She's like, that would just make this process so stress-free for me. Please, like, if you can do it. So I was like, okay. So I contacted my buyer. Like 2 or 3 days later, I had my buyer out there. She fell in love with the house. She's like, this is perfect. So she was already pre-approved with my lender. So we were able to move forward with it. She was able to have, my buyer needed some closing cost assistance. So my buyer was able to get her closing costs covered by the seller.
Nice.
And get this. So the appraisal, which is done by a non-biased third party, appraised the home for $4,000 more than what my buyer was paying for it.
Wow.
So not only did the buyer get her closing costs covered, not have to compete for a home, my seller also made more than what her goal was, picked her own closing date, and didn't have to go on the open market. So she didn't have to deal with showings, with having the home photography ready. So and the buyer ended up walking away with a home already. It had appraised for $4,000 more than she paid. It means she already has $4,000 worth of equity in the home.
Yeah.
Even having her closing costs covered, everything. My seller was thrilled because she obviously got to pick her own closing date, all the things. The process went perfect. Process was great. And we closed on time. My seller was thrilled. My buyer was thrilled. So that's an example of, I can't guarantee that in every situation. In this situation, I could, and it worked out so well. Everyone was like, it was one of those situations where truly everyone was happy, and I was like, this is this is doing my heart good, because we deal with so much conflict too in this job. But it was one of those situations where everyone was happy, and it was so rewarding. So that's an example of an off-market property where I wouldn't, as an agent or as a buyer, working with an agent who's not local, wouldn't have known about that.
Sure.
And would have then probably been competing with other buyers in the market. So there can be that opportunity. When you work with a local agent, they're going to know about off-market properties. And sometimes when the situation calls for it, it may actually work out that way where you can purchase an off-market deal. I've had it happen multiple times. But again, that's going to depend. Like, if my seller wasn't comfortable with that, then I never would have done it.
Yeah.
So my seller was more than happy for me to just go for it. She's like, go for it. If you can sell it, I would love for you to sell it. That way I don't have to deal with anyone else, because I know you, I trust you, do it.
Sure.
So she was comfortable with that. If I were to, be working with a seller that wasn't comfortable with that, then we just wouldn't do it. But it worked out really well in this situation.
That's a really incredible story. And that is one of the benefits of working with a local realtor. Like you said, they are kind of keen to those things.
Yeah.
Off-market
Get the ear to the ground.
That's right.
So yes, definitely there's benefit there working with someone who's going to know about the off-market properties.
That story actually reminded me of a question. I wanted to ask you, so for people like buying their first home, how long roughly do they usually stay in it? I know there's not like a certain like time period, but like roughly on average.
Average family spends 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years.
In a home.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's across the board, whether it's first-time home buyers.
Wow.
So yeah, people are moving average every 3 to 5 years, because you think, if it's a first-time home buyer, maybe they're having kids.
Yeah.
Maybe they're having a job change. And downsizing. Job change is huge, because, people change jobs, honestly, every 3 to 5 to 7 years. So people are changing jobs too. So yeah, every 3 to 5 years is pretty average for people to stay in a home. And that's going to differ. Like, that's just raw average statistics. I think that
For sure.
that's different depending on the area too. Like in the Farmville area, if I could take a guess, people are staying in their homes longer than 3 to 5 years because the area that we're in.
Sure.
So like if you're looking at a more bustling area like Richmond, you might find people moving more often. But it's every 3 to 5 years.
All right. Well, that's nice.
The more you know, the more you know.
That's right. Well, Lydia, did you have any other things that you want to bring up?
Yes. So point number 3.
Yes.
So I'll quickly touch on a couple points. Sure. So when you're working with a local realtor, the likelihood is that they'll also have established relationships with other local realtors. So if it's a competitive situation, I'm representing the buyer, we submit an offer. If I already have rapport with the listing agent and I've worked with them, they know me, they trust me, and let's say there's multiple offers on the table. If it's close, the plan is for them to see my name on a contract and know, okay, Lydia, I know Lydia works hard. I know Lydia's going to get this deal closed. I want to work with Lydia, as opposed to someone who's not from the area.
Yeah.
So if it's close like that, little things like that can make all the difference in the world. So I would say they also have, if you're working with a local expert, they should also have established relationships with other local realtors. And then the importance of working with a full-time realtor, because if you don't do this full-time, it's very easy to lose your edge and to not know what the statistics are. So I would say there's a huge difference between working with a part-time agent and a full-time agent, just like any other industry.
Yeah.
Like, if you're working with a contractor who does this very much on the side, they might be giving you a different price. Their quality might not be up to the standard of someone who does it full time. So that's the same thing. Full time, I'd say very, very, very important. And then marketing strategies for sellers. When you're working with someone who's a local expert, they might know, hey, let's do this. I'm going to door knock this neighborhood, and they're just going to probably think of some other strategies that will be helpful. But those were really my 5 main points. I feel like this time went by.
It went
so
by
fast.
really, really fast. Really, really
When
fast.
I get to talking, I tell you, it's hard for me to stop. So.
Well, I mean, you're full of knowledge in this industry, obviously, and so it's nice to hear this all, and we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if
so
you ask me
much.
to talk about real estate, it's hard to get me to stop.
We did have another listener requested question.
Oh, yes.
It was about how you do your hair. I didn't know if we should throw that in or not.
I love that we ask you guys, do you have any questions?
Yes.
And the question that we get back is, how do you do your hair, Lydia?
It's quite interesting, yeah.
So I get this question pretty frequently.
So this is not a first time for you?
It's not the first time I've gotten this question. So the big thing is like the volume. Okay, my hair is naturally curly. It does not look like this, but my hair is naturally curly, so it holds volume really well. So I usually just blow dry it.
Sure.
And then I curl it with an 1.5 inch curling iron, and then it holds curl really well. So if I curl it, it'll last for 3 days or so next time I wash my hair. So fun fact, nice way to end up our real estate
Exactly.
session.
This was great. Well, Lydia, thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
And,
Thanks for having me.
We look forward to next time you come in.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some fun sessions planned.
All right. Well, we got to jump to the birthday calendar and the weather forecast. So
Awesome.
we'll go ahead and do that.
Exciting
and
stuff.
We'll be back.
All right, we've got our birthdays coming up, perhaps an anniversary as well. And we've got Noah Massage here. He has the privilege of giving us those names. Noah, take it
Chris,
away.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. I appreciate that. The birthday is for March 27th, which is a Thursday. We have Brandon P. Roberts celebrating today. Also, Betsy Elliott. Kathleen Redford is celebrating a birthday today as well as J.R. Atkins Jr. and Syria Finch is celebrating a birthday as well. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the birthdays. I don't see any more. So if you want to get a birthday to us, you can email us at birthdays@wflo.net. You can also call in with a birthday request at 434-394-0924 or go on our website and you can submit birthdays directly from our website under the on-air mentions page.
All right.
A couple of different ways of getting birthdays to us, but all are very doable.
Oh, they are that.
Yes.
All right, the birthday calendar brought to you by Creative Electrical Contractors. If it's not right, they'll make it right. Call 434-392-2802. And it is your Thursday, this March the 27th. Nice interview there, Noah.
Well, thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You're very, very welcome. Is it Lillian?
Lydia.
Lydia.
Yeah.
She sounds very, very enthusiastic
yes,
about
she
what
is.
she does. So,
Absolutely.
that's half the battle right there. Is
absolutely.
being successful is loving what you do.
100%.
100%. Anyway, we're here with the Call Flow Radio Show. Our lines are now open at 434-394-0924. All right, let's check out some celebrity birthdays for today. Quentin Tarantino.
Oh.
He's the director. Turns 62 today.
Yeah. Definitely one of John's favorite directors, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he was also the narrator for the film The Hateful Eight.
I think he also, did he direct that as well?
I'm not sure. Probably.
Yeah.
Yes, probably. He probably did. You know that better than I do, probably. All right, let's see if we have a caller.
Yeah.
We'll take this call. Good morning. You're on the Call Flow Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Henry. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yes. As what?
I said I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, I'm glad to speak it. And I'm glad you heard it.
Yeah, I knew you'd come back with something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Reverend Earl
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to call. He had a miracle, his wife,
Mm-hmm.
but I hope he'll call and share that.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll just speak this kind of quick.
Okay.
Billy Smith of Keysville
Mm-hmm.
had surgery on his hand at the Veterans Hospital, Richmond, and his hand and arm became numb.
Mm-hmm.
One morning, I picked up my friend Donnie, told his wife we're going to go to Keysville to see a man, and on the way we're going to have breakfast at the V&P Market. And the man is going to come in and ask us to go home with him and pray for his wife. Well, I didn't know that, but that's what my voice said. It was 10 degrees
Ooh,
that
that's
morning.
cold.
Yeah. And we finished eating, and as I finished my last bite, I felt goosebumps. I told Donnie, I said, the person is here. In about 10 seconds, Mr. Ronald Stockton came to our table, and he said, it's so cold, I almost didn't come over here, but I came anyway to ask someone to come to my house and pray for my wife. His house was only about 300 yards away, so he left, and we drove over. I asked Donnie, I said, why couldn't we just pray at the V&P Market? He said, well, this market right now is being run by Jehovah's Witnesses, and he says God's not in the place. So anyway, we went to Ronald's house. God did a healing of his wife and his daughter. His daughter was married to a minister, and she had a blood problem, but both of them were healed instantly. Anyway, then we left there and went to Billy Smith's at Keysville. His left arm was dead, so we cast out the infirmity in Jesus' name. I had my left hand on the back of his hand, and it felt like putting your hand on the eye of a stove.
Ooh.
and then turning the heat on. Warmth flooded through his arm and hand, and I felt it flood through my hand. And Donnie then worked with his crooked leg, and it straightened out. It had been crooked for the many years I knew him, and but the last few months of his life, he had no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, God is truly the great physician.
He is that.
Yep, and he likes to use his children to help others.
And that's great. That's you too.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So I wanted to share that story with you this morning.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. We appreciate it.
And I'm hoping Brother Earl will give you a call and tell you some good news.
Okay, that sounds great. We always like good news.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, dear.
Take care. Have a
God
good day.
bless.
All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Henry.
The one
Calling
and only
in.
Henry Fulcher.
Yeah, one and only. Very true. All right, our lines again are open at 434-394-0924. Our time is 8:44, and our temperature outside at 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So we were talking about birthdays, celebrity birthdays. Quentin Tarantino turned 62.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Mariah Carey is 55 today. She has 2 children with former husband Nick Cannon. And let's see. Congratulations to her.
Were you a big fan of Mariah Carey? Chris?
Some.
A little bit.
Some.
Yeah, she's got some okay songs.
Yeah, she does, but she's got some pipes. I mean, she
Yeah.
can do the bravado like
Oh yeah.
way up there. Anyway, actor Nathan Fillion is 54. He's set to play Green Lantern in the upcoming Superman reboot. So we'll look forward to seeing him if you are a Superman fan, which I am.
Oh, you like
I
Superman?
like Superman. Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. I like the earlier versions though better.
Did you used to like go down to the store and pick up a comic book back in the day when you were younger, Chris?
Sure.
With like a nickel.
Like comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Francis liked comic books too.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got a whole collection.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what to do with them because I'm sure some of them are worth some money.
I'm sure.
So,
Yeah.
I might have to take them to a comic book
Appraiser
place.
or something,
Appraiser,
yeah.
Anyway, we've got singer Fergie. She turns 50, and of course she's with the Black Eyed Peas. She voiced Charlie Brown's sister Sally in multiple animated features. So Sergey is Sergey.
That's funny. That's funny.
Fergie is 50. All right, today. Actress Brenda Song turns 37. She appeared in the film The Last Showgirl. And let's see who else is celebrating here. Singer Halle Bailey is 25. And her middle name is Lynn. That's what we want. That's a fun fact for her. We have a very short list here
Sure. Yeah.
of celebrities. Actor Julian Glover is 90. Actor Jerry Lacey is 89. I don't know any of those people. Actor-director Austin Pendleton is 85. Actor Michael York, I do know him, is 83 today. Keyboardist Tony Banks of Genesis, 75. Keyboardist Andrew Ferris is 66. Jazz musician Dave Koz, we all know Dave, he's 62 today. Bassist Johnny April of Stained is 60. Let's see here. Actor Ben Koldyke of Masters of Sex and How I Met Your Mother is 57. Actor Polly Perrette of NCIS is 56. Drummer Brendan Hill of Blues Travelers, 45 today. Actor Elizabeth Mitchell of V and Lost is 55. Jazz saxophonist Tia Fuller is 49. Actor Emily Ann Lloyd is 41. Singer Kimbra, 35 today. And actor Taylor Atlian, according to Jim, is 30 years old.
Oh.
That's all of the celebrity birthdays we have for this March the 27th.
Very good list. Very good
Very
list.
good list. Okay. All right. So our time is 8:48. The number to call, 434-394-0924 if you want to
Join the
join
conversation.
in the conversation. The sunshine out. It's a beautiful morning. It's going to be a beautiful day today.
It is a very nice day. The weather
kind of
has
seasonal.
been very nice recently. You
Yeah.
know, it hasn't been too hot. Hasn't been too cold.
Too chilly.
I've been not bringing my jacket, which is nice. I've been trying to just like tough it out with a sweater. You know,
adapt to the to the weather.
Yeah. A jacket's nice. A jacket's like having a backpack on you at all times. Like, you know, you have all those pockets, side
yeah.
storage,
Yeah,
inner pockets, outer pockets. And not luckily, but my jacket, like the side pockets, Chris, right? They both have holes in the pockets. So
dear.
basically the lining of my jacket is one big pocket.
So you jingle jangle sometimes.
I literally have stuff in there that I don't even know where I got it.
There's Christmas. You can, you go digging down there and find all kinds of
I think I should cut it
surprises.
open and see, like opening up a present or something.
Yeah,
That jacket
that's
needs to
right.
go. It's been around for too long. I think I've had it for like 3 years, which honestly isn't that long to have a jacket.
But if you wear it every day, like every
yeah,
every day.
I really wore it a lot, so
Yeah.
it's worn out.
You can wash it.
Yeah, but it won't fix the pockets.
Well, you can have
Pockets
Katie sew the pockets up.
all the buttons are gone. I have one button, and it's like an inner button, so
Okay,
like and
that
it serves
needs to
no
go.
purpose with me.
It
Like
needs to go.
it's just
not like it's not like that when if you can't let go of it or anything.
no.
It's-
I want it gone. It's like I want to get rid of it. I don't want it thrown into the ocean.
All right.
No, but I mean, like I'm really looking forward to the day where I see what's in those pockets, because like I mean my whole arm fits in them because it's just the lining, and that's one.
Yeah, well, I
huge
have
space.
a purse like that.
Yeah.
I bought a purse and I love it.
Yeah.
It's got more compartments in it than I can fill, and that is saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, a pocket for this, a pocket for that, a zippered thing for this, one for
Yeah.
myself. I've got so many pockets that I hide stuff from myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
There's nothing better than a small pocket for one item only, like a pocket knife or something on the lines of a pocket knife. Just like
Right.
a one little thing, and there's a pocket just for that. And then you forget it's there, and just you stumble upon it when you're
And it's,
looking for something
"Ooh,
else.
I've
Yeah.
been looking for that.
Yeah.
Or how nice to have that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and plus, when you get some extra change, which that comes
Yeah.
more rare than,
Remember the coins shortage we had a little bit ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? Did they find all that?
I
think my
guess
father was
somebody
hogging
turned
half
into
of it.
those
He
pennies.
they had a lot of coins laying around in jars and everything. Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah.
All right, we do have a caller, so we'll say good morning. You're on the Call Flow Show.
Yes, good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing a lot better, thank you. I just
Is this
heard your
Earl?
call.
Is this Earl?
Ma'am?
Is this Earl?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Earl. Henry said you were going to give us a call.
I haven't seen you since I saw you at Walmart.
Well, it's been a while then.
Yes, it has.
I hope you're doing all right.
We've been battling a lot of health issues. I want to thank everyone for the prayers. Everyone's on the mend. Had a really scary incident on Tuesday at our luncheon at Episcopal Church. We meet every Tuesday for lunch. And my wife complained of chest pains, and then she said, "I'm gonna pass out," and she did, and she stopped breathing, had no pulse. My grandson started the CPR. Anyway, long story, real short. Anyway, we got her back, and of course the squad had been called, and I want to thank them for responding so quickly. And she was transported to the hospital at Central. They ran a lot of tests. They couldn't find anything, had not had a heart attack. But anyway, she was discharged yesterday afternoon. The doctor said we have no explanation. It happens. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to thank everyone for the prayers. We're all on the mend. I sound worse than I am. I've been battling some upper respiratory and sinus infections. Always tells them my vocal cords because, like Henry, I run my mouth a lot.
Well, it's great to hear. It's great to hear from
but
you.
anyway,
Earl. Yeah.
He had asked me to call. He said, "I think you ought to call and let folks know how you're doing." And so I sure miss being on flow. I think maybe. And by the way, I still have folks that recognize the voice and say, "I heard you on morning devotions," blah blah, and they go on about that. And anyway, so I want you to know your station is reaching people, and still is, has been for years. And I've got to get completely well because, like your late husband, spring turkey season is right around the corner.
That's right. I remember when you would come in your camouflage outfit, ready to go after you got off the air.
I know he loved the spring turkey hunt.
Yep. He
And
did.
he was quite good. He was
Yeah.
a good woodsman.
He was a good man all around.
Oh, I cannot argue the point one iota.
All right.
I still miss the friend man on the air.
Yes, I know. And a lot of people do. I do too. But he's in a
And
good place.
so-
He's in a good place.
Okay, continue the good work, and I appreciate the time. Let everyone know that I appreciate all the prayers, and we're on the mend.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Reverend Earl, as he's known, and he's they're the pastor at Pisgah Baptist Church over there in Rice, and wanting to thank all the people there that helped recoup his wife, who had a serious incident.
Very, very serious.
But they can't find out what it was. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. All right. So we have open lines here again, and the number is 434-394-0924. That was Earl Wallace, by the way, his last name. All right. It's 8:55. Still time for us to have some calls.
A few more calls.
In.
Yeah. You were talking about your purse, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's just all I want to say about it is that it's got
nice
so many
space.
I carry everything but the kitchen sink in my purse. It's one of those game shows that at the end of the show they always say, if you've got like a toothpick or if you've got like a can opener or something like that in your purse, we're going to give you $50 or whatever. Yeah. I could have really racked in on that.
Yeah. Missing out.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. But you never know.
Absolutely. So Earl Wallace, is it Wallace?
Wallace.
Yeah. So he was a part of the old WFLO.
Yes, he used to do morning devotions.
Okay, that was the little sermons they would give, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes of devotions. Some of them were sermons, some of them were just devotions or whatever.
Sure.
They had a group of ministers that came through. It was like Farmville Ministerial Association, and they would have someone come in to do devotions each week. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Interesting. It would be at 8:45.
Okay, like a morning
on
kind of
WFLO AM.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. After the Call Flow show. So
morning devotion. Yeah, that's nice.
Get your day started.
Good, a good way to start your day with a little positive message,
Yep. And some of the ministers, of course, Francis and I would be back in the FM studio doing the entertainment news.
Yeah.
And a lot of them came in and did it live, in the center studio. And some of those pastors got really excited, and they wanted to all fired up. Yeah, and so we could actually hear them.
Yeah, they have the Holy Spirit coursing through their veins.
Had it. Yes, they did. And it was really cool.
That is nice. Yeah,
it was really something.
You gotta say, a microphone does something to some people. Like when they get in front of a microphone, they're crazy.
Well, they always used to tell me this: just act like the microphone is your friend.
Yeah. But you don't talk to your friend like you're talking to a microphone. You don't say, "Hey, friend, I'm going to get really close to you." Well, maybe depending on.
I say, this is for you guys out there, listeners, or
Oh,
whatever.
I mean, like the distance between me and the friends.
Oh no.
Like you don't talk to your friend this close.
No.
That would be weird.
Don't get face up like that, like they do in the soap operas.
Yeah, sure.
You've seen them in the soap operas.
Yes, I've seen the soaps, Chris.
Yeah, I hope they drink. I hope they've taken or sucked on a lot of certs or certs, but
cough drops.
Well, cough drops or breath mints. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I think they have a guy on set on a lot of those soap operas with just mouthwash, like ready to go. I heard that's a opening for a job. So,
oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Okay. Well, we've had a couple of interesting calls. We've had the wonderful interview with Lydia.
We did.
And so it's been a good day.
It has been a good day, yeah. Yeah, and you'll be on tomorrow with John Staten, the one and only John.
John, that's right.
So should be exciting.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
All right. You take care now.
All right. You too, Chris. And by the way, I don't know if you want to update people, but you did get a washer finally?
Yes. Delivered tomorrow.
Yes. So it's coming.
Yes.
It's on the way.
I'm so excited.
That is very good news. I'm glad to hear that you'll have a way to wash your clothes.
Absolutely. I'm very happy.
Me too.
Okay. It all works out.
It does. It does.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Everybody have a great day. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you. News is next.